Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when the weight of sadness feels too heavy to bear, when the nights seem endless, the days feel colorless, and the heart aches in silence. But let me tell you something I learned from my journey. Sadness is not the end of your story. In fact, it can be the beginning of something incredibly beautiful. Sadness is a feeling we all encounter at some point in our lives. It's that deep ache in the heart, the silent tears, the feeling of being stuck in a world that suddenly seems colorless. During those moments it may feel like the end, like the light has gone out and there's no way forward. But what if sadness isn't the end at all? What if instead it's the beginning of something far more profound and powerful? Life has a way of throwing us into unexpected situations: loss, failure, rejection, disappointment. These moments often arrive uninvited and unwanted, shaking the very foundation of who we think we are. When everything feels like it's falling apart, it's easy to believe that our story ends here. But in truth, sadness often acts as a turning point, a silent invitation to step into a deeper version of ourselves. Sadness slows us down. It forces us to pause, to reflect, and to feel everything we might normally try to ignore. In that stillness, we begin to understand what truly matters. We start seeing through illusions of control, of perfection, of having it all figured out. Sadness doesn't ask us to escape reality. It invites us to face it, and in facing it, we grow. Think about the moments in life when everything was going smoothly, when joy was abundant, when things seemed effortless. Those are beautiful chapters, but rarely do they lead to transformation. Real growth often comes from struggle. When the heart breaks, it breaks open, and through that opening, light enters, new insights. New strength, new purpose. Sadness, if we let it, becomes a mirror. It shows us parts of ourselves that we've hidden away, our vulnerability, our fears, our unmet needs, but it also reveals our resilience, our courage, and our ability to endure. When everything falls apart, we learn what we're made of. We learn that we are stronger than we thought, braver than we believed, and more capable than we imagined. It's in these quiet, painful moments that many people discover their passion, their voice, their calling. Artists create their most moving work from sorrow. Leaders find compassion and direction through adversity. Ordinary people become extraordinary not in spite of their sadness, but because of it. They choose to rise, to rebuild, and to write a new story with the pieces of the old one. The beauty of life is that it doesn't require us to be perfect. It only asks us to keep going. Sadness reminds us that we are alive, that we can feel deeply, care deeply, and love deeply. And if we can feel that pain, we can also feel joy. It's two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. Sometimes sadness clears the path for happiness. It clears away false expectations, clears space for authentic connection, and clears the heart to feel joy more fully. It humbles us, grounds us, and opens our eyes to the small miracles we once took for granted. A kind word, a warm hug, the sunrise, the quiet strength of simply making it through the day. Healing doesn't always look like a grand transformation. Sometimes it's just taking one more step, choosing to wake up and try again, letting yourself cry and then, eventually, allowing yourself to smile. Sadness isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of wisdom. And once we accept that, we stop fearing it. We begin to see it as a chapter in the larger story, a chapter that, while painful, carries the seeds of renewal. There is no shame in feeling broken. There is no failure in struggling. These are human experiences, and within them lies the power to rebuild a life more honest, more meaningful, and more beautiful than before. Sadness may not feel like a gift in the moment, but when we look back, it often turns out to be the spark that led to our greatest transformation. So if you're walking through sadness, know this: it's not the end, it's a beginning, a chance to rediscover who you are, to realign with what matters, and to rise, not in spite of your pain, but because of it. You are not lost, you are simply becoming, and what you're becoming is something far stronger, deeper, and more radiant than ever before. Every day brings with it a choice. Life doesn't always unfold the way we want it to. Circumstances change, people disappoint us, plans fall apart. Pain knocks on the door without warning. But in all of that chaos, there is one thing that remains firmly in our hands: our response. We may not be able to control what happens around us, but we always have the power to choose how we respond. This truth is both liberating and humbling. It reminds us that we are not at the mercy of the world. Our reactions are not pre-written scripts, they are choices. In the space between what happens to us and how we react, there lies incredible power, the power to grow, to rise, and to transform. No matter how overwhelming the situation, we are never entirely powerless. That inner strength, the ability to choose our response, is what shapes our reality more than the event itself. When faced with pain, it's easy to react in anger, to lash out, to blame others or withdraw. But reaction is different from response. A reaction is automatic, often rooted in fear or past hurt. A response is intentional. It comes from a place of awareness, maturity, and strength. Choosing your response is not about pretending things are okay when they're not. It's about deciding who you want to be in the face of adversity. Do you want to be bitter or better? Do you want to shut down or rise up? Life constantly tests us, but every challenge is an invitation, a chance to choose courage over fear, compassion over resentment, and patience over frustration. It is not an easy choice, especially when everything in you wants to scream or give up. But with practice, we learn to pause, to breathe, and to decide rather than simply react. Choosing your response doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. Emotions are natural and valid. It's okay to feel angry, sad, or scared. But the key lies in not letting those emotions dictate your actions. Feel them, acknowledge them, but don't be ruled by them. You are not your anger. You are not your despair. You are the awareness behind those feelings, the one who gets to decide what comes next. There is a quiet kind of power in responding with grace, in choosing peace when the world expects chaos, in standing tall when it would be easier to collapse. That power doesn't come from controlling everything around you. It comes from mastering what's within you. The more you exercise that power, the stronger it becomes. And soon you begin to live not as a victim of your circumstances, but as a creator of your own experience. This mindset shifts everything. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, you see them as opportunities to build character. Every difficulty becomes a lesson, every delay a test of patience, every heartbreak a chance to expand your capacity for love. Choosing your response also builds resilience. It teaches you that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you can get back up with more clarity, strength, and wisdom. It's not about being unaffected by pain. It's about not letting pain define who you are. It's about showing up with integrity even when no one is watching. That's real power. When you take responsibility for your response, you also take back your freedom. You are no longer tied to how others behave or how circumstances unfold. You stop giving your peace away to external situations. Your happiness, your calm, your mindset. These become your own again. There's nothing more powerful than a person who has learned to master their inner world. They walk through life not in fear, but with confidence. Not because life is easy, but because they trust their ability to handle it. That trust is built every time you make a conscious choice to respond with intention. It's built every time you rise above negativity, every time you choose kindness over cruelty, hope over despair. So no matter what life throws your way, remember this: you always have a choice. You have the power to rise above, to stay grounded, to choose love even when it's hard. And in that choice lies your greatest strength. There is a common belief that happiness is something we find, hidden in success, tucked away in relationships, or waiting for us in some distant future when everything finally falls into place. This belief can lead us on a lifelong chase, moving from goal to goal, place to place, hoping that happiness is just one achievement or one moment away. But the truth is, happiness isn't something we stumble upon. It's something we build moment by moment, choice by choice. Happiness is not out there somewhere, waiting to be discovered. It's created within us, often in the most ordinary and imperfect moments. It's not dependent on perfection, wealth, or the absence of problems. In fact, happiness can coexist with struggle, uncertainty, and pain. It isn't about avoiding life's difficulties, but about choosing to see beauty and meaning in the middle of them. Waiting for everything to be perfect before you allow yourself to be happy is like waiting for the storm to end before learning to dance in the rain. Life is unpredictable. There will always be challenges. But if we link happiness to an ideal future, we risk missing the joy that is available to us right now. Every day offers opportunities to choose joy, to practice gratitude, and to find contentment in what we already have. Creating happiness begins with presence. It starts by being fully where you are, not where you wish to be. So many moments of joy are lost because we are distracted, thinking about what's next or dwelling on what went wrong. When we slow down and truly notice the little things, a warm cup of tea, a kind smile, a quiet moment of peace, we begin to realize that happiness is woven into the fabric of daily life. Gratitude plays a powerful role in the creation of happiness. It shifts our focus from what's missing to what's already here. When we take time to notice what's good, even amidst the bad, we strengthen our ability to feel joy. Gratitude teaches us that we don't need more to be happy. We just need to see differently. It's not about denying pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's about honoring what's good even when life is hard. Another key to creating happiness is aligning your life with your values. When you live in a way that's true to who you are, when your actions match your beliefs, there's a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. That alignment brings a kind of happiness that isn't fleeting. It's rooted in purpose. You start to feel connected to something bigger than yourself, and that connection brings a quiet, steady joy. Letting go of comparison is also essential. Comparing your life to others is a surefire way to rob yourself of happiness. Everyone has a different journey. What brings joy to one person may not do the same for another. When you focus on your own growth, your own progress, and your own dreams, you create space for real happiness to take root. Joy isn't a competition. It's a personal, evolving experience. Creativity, connection, and contribution are also powerful sources of happiness. When you create, whether it's art, a garden, or a new idea, you tap into something deeply fulfilling. When you connect with others truly and authentically, you feel seen and valued. And when you contribute to something beyond yourself, you experience a sense of meaning that lifts you up from the inside. Self-compassion is another crucial element. Being kind to yourself, especially when things go wrong, creates a foundation for emotional well-being. Happiness doesn't thrive in self-criticism. It grows in environments of understanding, forgiveness, and patience. When you treat yourself with the same care you'd offer a friend, you build a more peaceful inner world. Ultimately, happiness is a daily practice. It's not a destination we reach one day, but a way of living we choose again and again. It's found in how we treat others, how we speak to ourselves, and how we choose to see the world. It's in the courage to find light in darkness, to laugh in moments of stress, and to keep showing up with hope even when the road is hard. The beauty of this truth is that it puts the power in your hands. You don't have to wait for happiness to find you. You can begin building it today, with your thoughts, your choices, your mindset, and your heart. And in doing so, you'll discover that happiness isn't somewhere out there. It's right here, waiting to be created. Pain is one of the most human experiences. It arrives uninvited, often without warning, and leaves a mark that can feel impossible to erase. Whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual, pain has a way of shaking us to our core. It disrupts our plans, challenges our strength, and forces us to confront parts of ourselves we might rather ignore. But as overwhelming as pain can be, it is not meaningless. There is a deeper purpose hidden within it, if we are willing to look beyond the surface. Pain is not here to punish, it is here to teach. Every experience of pain carries with it a lesson, a truth about ourselves, our lives, or the world around us. Sometimes pain shows up to break illusions we've held on to for too long. Sometimes it appears to wake us up, to push us toward change we've been avoiding. And sometimes it simply arrives to teach us how deeply we can feel, how much we can survive, and how resilient we truly are. When we are in pain, it's easy to want to run from it, to numb it, to distract ourselves, to pretend it isn't there. But pain doesn't go away just because we ignore it. It waits for us to stop running and finally listen. Because within pain there is clarity, there is direction. It reveals what matters and what doesn't. It strips away the superficial and points us toward what's real. Pain deepens our empathy. When we've suffered, we understand the suffering of others. We become more compassionate, more patient, more kind. We no longer judge so quickly. We no longer look at others' pain with confusion or detachment. We recognize it, we feel it, and we become more human because of it. Pain creates a bridge between hearts. It connects us through shared vulnerability and reminds us that we are not alone. In many ways, pain is a mirror. It reflects the parts of us that need attention and healing. It shows us the wounds we haven't yet addressed, the fears we still carry, the beliefs that may be holding us back. Facing pain requires courage. It asks us to sit in discomfort, to feel what's uncomfortable, and to trust that the process of feeling is also the process of healing. Through that process, we uncover strength we didn't know we had. Pain also has the power to push us toward growth. So many people discover their purpose, their passion, or their calling through their hardest moments. The setback that seemed unbearable becomes the turning point. The loss that shattered their heart becomes the beginning of a new mission. Pain often redirects us towards something greater than we imagined, something more aligned, more meaningful, more powerful. It's not about glorifying pain or pretending it's easy. Pain hurts. It challenges every part of us. But instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can begin to ask, "What is this trying to show me?" That shift in perspective is where the purpose begins to unfold. It doesn't mean we stop grieving or feeling, but it means we start looking for the lesson, the growth, the transformation. Pain humbles us. It reminds us of our limits and our humanity, but it also empowers us. It shows us that even in our darkest moments we can rise. We can choose to keep going, even when everything inside us wants to give up. And that decision, to keep going, is where our greatest power lies. Healing from pain doesn't always mean that it disappears. Sometimes, healing means learning to live with it in a new way, to let it be part of our story without letting it define our future, to carry it with grace, to use it as fuel, and to allow it to shape us into someone wiser, kinder, and stronger. The purpose of pain is not always clear right away. Sometimes it takes time, distance, and reflection. But eventually, when we look back, we see how the pieces fit together. We see how pain led to insight, how heartbreak led to a new beginning, how rock bottom became the foundation for something unshakable. There is power in trusting that your pain is not wasted, that everything you've been through has meaning, that every scar carries a story, not of defeat, but of survival, and that through it all you are becoming someone more whole, more awake, and more deeply connected to the essence of life. Pain changes you, but if you let it, it will change you for the better, not by breaking you down, but by building you up from the inside out, with truth, with strength, and with a purpose that runs deeper than you ever imagined. It's easy to believe that we are the sum of what happens to us, When life becomes difficult, when we face setbacks, trauma, or failure, it can feel like those experiences define who we are. But the truth is, you are not your circumstances. You are not your failures, not your pain, not your past. You are something far greater, something deeper than anything external that has touched your life. Life is unpredictable. It doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes it brings blessings, sometimes storms. There will be moments when everything feels right, and others when it all seems to fall apart. But the outer chaos does not dictate your inner worth. You are not less valuable because you are struggling. You are not broken because you are hurting. You are not unworthy because life has treated you unfairly. Circumstances are temporary. They change, evolve, and pass with time. But your essence, your heart, your mind, your soul remains. That part of you is untouched by external events. It might get buried beneath pain or pressure, but it's always there, waiting to rise again. The world may label you based on what it sees, your job, your appearance, your mistakes, your background. But none of that defines your true identity. What defines you is how you respond, how you grow, and how you rise. You have the ability to shape your story, even when the plot seems beyond your control. Difficult situations may influence your journey, but they do not determine your destination. You can come from a place of brokenness and still build something whole. You can be surrounded by limitations and still find freedom within yourself. Too often, people believe that they are trapped by their current situation, that their worth is tied to their income, their relationship status, or their social status. But those things are fleeting. One moment they may bring joy, the next they may bring disappointment. Basing your identity on changing circumstances is like building a house on sand. True stability comes from within, from knowing who you are regardless of what's happening around you. Some of the most powerful transformations begin in the darkest places. What feels like rock bottom can become the solid foundation on which you rebuild. Struggles can teach you resilience. Loss can awaken appreciation. Failure can point you toward a new path, but none of these things define you. They are experiences, lessons, not labels. When you look in the mirror, you might see someone worn down by life. You might see someone carrying the weight of rejection, judgment, or regret. But look deeper, see the strength in your eyes, see the courage it takes to keep going. See the wisdom you've gained through every trial. You are not just what has happened to you. You are what you've chosen to become in response to it. You are not your bank balance. You are not your heartbreak. You are not the job you lost, the exam you failed, or the people who walked away. You are not your illness. You are not the lies others told about you, or the moments you wish you could take back. Those are parts of your story, but they are not the whole story, and they are certainly not the final chapter. Who you are is defined by your values, your character, your dreams, and your determination. It's defined by your kindness when no one's looking, your strength when you're tired, and your hope even when things seem hopeless. Your identity is formed not by the storm, but by how you navigate through it. When you stop identifying with your circumstances, you take back your power. You stop saying, "I am broken," and start saying, "I am healing." You stop saying, "I am a failure," and start saying, "I am learning." That shift is everything. It allows you to break free from the chains of self, doubt, and embrace your ability to grow beyond anything life throws your way. There will always be challenges. There will always be parts of your life that you wish were different. But those things don't limit your potential. They don't determine your future. The most inspiring people in the world are not those who had perfect lives. They are the ones who turned pain into purpose, who chose courage over fear, and who refused to let their circumstances define them. You are not where you come from. You are not what happened to you. You are not even who you were yesterday. You are who you decide to be today, and that choice, the decision to keep moving forward, to keep believing in yourself, is the most powerful thing you have. You have the right to rewrite your story. You have the strength to rise, the heart to heal, and the mind to imagine something better. No matter where you are or what you're facing, always remember, you are not your circumstances. You are the author of your life, and your next chapter can be anything you want it to be. There are moments in life when everything feels dark, when hope seems distant and strength feels like a fading whisper. In those moments, it's natural to look outward, searching for someone to rescue us, for some light to guide us through. But sometimes the light we're looking for doesn't come from the outside. Sometimes it begins within. You don't have to wait for someone to save you. You have the power to be the light, for yourself and for others. Being the light doesn't mean you're never afraid, never tired, or never hurting. It means you choose to shine despite those things. It means you decide to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep believing in better days, even when you can't yet see them. The smallest spark within you has the power to pierce through the deepest darkness. And when you learn to recognize that light in yourself, you give others permission to find theirs too. There is strength in realizing that you don't have to be perfect to inspire someone. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be real. Authenticity has power. Vulnerability has power. When you share your story, not just the victories but also the struggles, you create a space where others feel seen, heard, and less alone. That is how light spreads, not through perfection but through connection. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every time you offer a listening ear, you're being the light. Even when you're struggling, when you offer love and compassion to someone else, you ignite something beautiful. Sometimes we think we have nothing to give because we're broken or tired or lost, but often it's in our most fragile moments that we offer the deepest comfort. When you've walked through the fire, you understand the pain of others in a way that only experience can teach, and that understanding can become a beacon. You don't need a title or a platform to make a difference. You don't need fame or recognition. Sometimes the most powerful light comes from a quiet presence, from someone who chooses patience in the middle of chaos, who chooses love over judgment, who chooses hope when everything screams despair. You have that choice every day. You have the ability to be a source of calm, a voice of reason, a gentle reminder that good still exists. Being the light for yourself is just as important. It means choosing to believe in your worth, even when others don't see it. It means being kind to yourself, especially when the inner critic gets loud. It means showing up for yourself, cheering yourself on, and refusing to abandon your own heart. There's power in treating yourself the way you would treat someone you love, especially when you're struggling. This world doesn't need more people pretending to have it all together. It needs more people who are willing to be real, who are willing to say, yes, I've been through pain and I'm still here, I'm still standing. That kind of resilience lights up the world. And when you carry your light with humility, you show others that they can rise too, that they're not alone, that healing is possible. You become a mirror reflecting strength they didn't know they had. You become a reminder that they can make it through, even if they're in the darkest chapter of their life. And sometimes just your presence, your ability to sit with someone in silence, to offer your time, your heart, your truth, is enough to shift something within them. Never underestimate the ripple effect of your light. One small act of courage can inspire a chain reaction. One moment of vulnerability can unlock healing for someone else. One decision to rise can spark hope in those watching you. You may never fully know the impact you have, but trust that your light matters. It always has, and it always will. The beauty of this truth is that you don't have to wait for permission. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're ready. You can decide right now to be the light for yourself, for someone else, or for the world. It begins with a choice to not give up, a choice to keep your heart open, a choice to believe in goodness, even when the world feels heavy. Yes, there will be days when your light feels dim, when you feel overwhelmed, lost, or disconnected. But even then, the light hasn't gone out. It may be quieter, but it's still there, and in those moments, sometimes being the light simply means holding on, breathing, trusting that this season will pass, that the dawn always follows the night. Remember, you don't have to shine perfectly, you just have to shine honestly, be a light that warms, that heals, that guides, not because you have to, but because that's who you are. And as you continue on your journey, lighting the way for others, you'll discover that the light within you not only survives, but grows stronger with every step you take. You are the light, and that is more than enough. No matter how heavy the sadness, no matter how long the night, always remember, within you lies the power to transform your pain into strength, your fear into courage, and your sadness into happiness. Life may not always give you what you expect, but it will always give you the opportunity to rise, to grow, and to shine. You are not defined by what broke you, but by how you chose to rebuild. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are the author of your future. And in every moment you hold the pen. Choose to write a story of resilience. Choose to create joy, even in the midst of sorrow. Choose to be the light that reminds others that hope still exists. This journey won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because happiness isn't found, it's created, and it begins the moment you decide to believe in the beauty of your own becoming. So stand tall, speak kindly to yourself, keep moving forward, and never forget, you have the strength to turn even the darkest sadness into the brightest light. Your story is not over. In fact, it's just beginning.